after a week actually. So good afternoon all of you after a week. So yes, we are finally back to our afternoon class where you don't have to bear me for extra minutes after your class, right? Yeah, you can again go through. I know the color choice is pretty bad. It's not. Yeah, Visma, I know. Let me see if I can do something. I'll try to change the colors. Just a minute. All right, so I'll read it out. Do you know why during gastritis having cold drinks gives relief? Right? During gastritis, it's gastritis. It is gastritis. This is an image, so I don't think so we can edit it. So, yeah, do you know why during gastritis or during acidity having cold drinks gives you a relief? Right? Cold drinks. Ankita, how can cold drink be basic? How can cold drink be basic? All right. Right. So let's move ahead then. So I think many of you have joined. That everybody know, Harshit. That everybody know. You need to find the reason. Adesh, such a lovely reason, man. Adesh is a dude. He always have a out of the box reasons. Very good, Shreya. Finally, I got the right answer. Now the people will Google and answer. Okay. Not really, Vijay. We'll discuss this after the end of the class. Not after the end of the class. I have this topic to be taught today. I'll come to that. Let me first take the last class summary. Right. So last class we had discussed till molarity and we had solved questions on molarity. Correct? Solved till molarity. Now I'll give you what is normality definition. Right. Again, I'll give you what is normality basically. So guys, I am assuming you know this. So I'm just going little quick on this. So normality is defined as number of equivalents divided by volume of solution, same as molarity, in liter. Volume of solution should be in liter. This is the formula. So normality is number of equivalents by volume. Whereas your molarity, which you have studied, is number of moles of solute by volume. Correct? It's there, Rahul. For this part, no. For this part, no. Now, in general, how do we find normality? So I'll directly give you the relation. Normality is given by, I'll not go into detail much. I'll give only what I need. N factor into molarity. Normality is given by N factor into molarity. So if I can find N factor, I can easily find normality. Now, I'll explain a bit what is number of equivalents. Number of equivalent is the way you write number of moles is given weight by molecular mass. Number of equivalent is given weight by equivalent mass. Now, what is equivalent mass? Equivalent mass is molecular mass by N factor. So you can see again, you have to find N factor, which is also called valence factor. So N factor, how do you find? I'll take only the basics. If you have acids, For acids, n factor is number of H plus ions. For bases, n factor is number of OH minus ions given by base. For salt, n factor is either you can take total positive charge or total negative charge of salt, or total negative charge, right? Either of these three. So this is your normality molarity relation, correct? So how to find that? You need n factor. How do you find that n factor? For acid, it is number of H plus ions. If you take example, HCl gives you 1 H plus, 1 HCl, so n factor is 1. H2SO4 gives you 2 H plus, so n factor is 2. Similarly, calcium hydroxide gives you 2 OH minus, so n factor is 2. Salt mein I will take Al2SO4 whole thrice. So in this, Al2SO4 whole thrice. In this, aluminium carries plus 3 charge, 2 aluminium will carry plus 6. So n factor here will be 6. This is how you find n factor. Now, we also said here that number of moles is molarity into volume. Similarly, number of equivalent can be written as normality into volume. So how can I find number of equivalent? Number of equivalent can be found using this relation, or it can be found using this relation also. There is one more relation I'll add. So number of equivalents, if you want to find, it is given by normality into volume, or you can use the formula given weight by equivalent weight, or yes, Meghna, you can. Or we can add, now I know number of equivalent is given weight by equivalent weight. Equivalent weight is molecular mass by n factor. We have done this. This is your moles. So number of equivalent is n moles by n moles, and this n factor will go up. It is in denominator, so into n factor. This is your third formula for n number of equivalent. That is, if you have number of moles multiplied by n factor, you'll get number of equivalent. If you have normality multiplied by volume, if you have weight divided by equivalent weight, will give you the n factor. Okay? Just to give you an example, H2SO4, if you want to find its equivalent weight, so equivalent weight is molecular weight by n factor. So molecular weight of H2SO4 will be 2 into 1 plus sulfur 32 plus oxygen 16 into 4. This comes out to be 98. N factor for H2SO4, it gives 2H plus ion is 2. So 49 gram is the equivalent weight. Very good, Pritish. 49 gram is the equivalent weight. Okay? So that's why we should not be so much fast also. Being so much fast also hurts. Okay? I hope this thing is clear to you. Now, I was discussing dilution concepts yesterday. Concept of dilution and concept of mixing. So see carefully. Concept of dilution. So pay attention. If you have a HCl solution, correct? And now I'm not going to deal in molarity. I'm going to deal in normality only. Let's say normality of this is N1. How much was the volume? V1. To this, if you add X ml of water, so when you add water, volume is going to change. So normality will change. But number of equivalents of solute is not changing because you are not adding solute. Solute remain same, correct? So what is the number of equivalent here? Using this formula, normality N1 into volume V1. Let us say the final normality became N2. What is the final volume? V2. So what is the number of equivalent here? N2 V2. So I am telling you, you are adding water, solvent. So solute is not going to change. Therefore, number of equivalent will remain same. So NEQ is equal to NEQ dash. So N1 V1 is equal to N2 V2 here. Correct? And here, what is V2? Initially, volume was V1. How much water you have added? XML. So final volume will be V1 plus X. So this is your concept of dilution, right? This is a concept of dilution. I hope this concept is clear. We'll take problems, 2 to 3 problems on this. Just understand it carefully. Then comes your concept of mixing. Concept of mixing. So in this, you can have two cases. When you mix two solutions having same solute, or you mix two solutions having different solute. When you mix different solute, they will always react with each other. When you mix two solute, they will not react with each other. For example, one banana plus another banana will be a banana. But one banana plus orange, you cannot add them, correct? So if I take, let's say, HCl solution 1 plus HCl solution 2, when I mix them, I get HCl solution 3, right? Let us say normality of this was N1. This was N2. How much volume of this I have mixed? V1. How much volume of this I have mixed? V2. So now, final normality my is N3. Final volume is V3, correct? Now, what is the number of equivalent of HCl here? N1, V1. What is the equivalent here? N2, V2. So when you add HCl1 and HCl2, so total equivalent of HCl will get added up. And what will be the final equivalent of HCl in this solution? Final solution, N3V3. So this is what you apply here. Okay? But here, if you take HCl plus NaOH mixture, you can take any reaction, barium chloride, aluminum sulfate, any reaction, two different solutions. Okay? Limiting reagent concepts, all those comes here. Gives you NaCl plus water. Again, same concept. Normality N1, V1. N2, V2, correct? Now, if somebody asks you, if you take 2 mole of this, 3 mole of this, I know 1 mole react with 1 mole, so 2 will react with 2, so base will be left out, correct? So how much base will be left out? 1. So how you got 1? You subtracted larger moles from the smaller moles. Similarly, you will find the number of equivalents. Here is N1V1, here is N2V2. Right? If the equivalent of acid is more than base, then resultant normality will be the normality of acid. And if the equivalent of base is more, let's say this is 2, this is 3, then what will be left behind? Base. So normality will be N1V1 minus N2V2 divided by, this is the equivalence. Normality formula is number of equivalents by volume. So here I have taken the final number of equivalent divided by final volume is V3. What is the final volume? V1 plus V2. So final volume here is V1 plus V2. So these are the concepts you apply in this particular chapter. Okay? That is the concept you apply in this particular chapter. I hope all of you remember this. Let us solve some questions on this and move to our next concept. Yes, anybody having any doubt in this, please ask. Guys, anybody having any doubt in this, please ask. Adesh, HCl plus H2SO4, also you will consider them like this. No change. HCl plus H2SO4, also you will consider them like this. Both of them are acid, both of them give H plus ion. So no change. Right? Kayuri, when you subtract here, Kayuri, what we are saying here is reaction is happening here. So 1 mole reacts with 1 mole. So if you take 2 mole of this, 2 mole will react with 2. So what is left? Base is left. So final solution, only what will be left? Base will be left. 2 mole acid is neutralized by base. Nothing is left. So 2 mole of acid is neutralized by 2 mole of base. 1 mole base is left. How do you know 1 mole base is left? You have subtracted 2 from 3. That's why you have got 1. Right? That's why you have got 1. Sakshya, I'm explaining again. Rathe, I'm doing that. So what you're saying here is 1 reacts with 1. So 2 will react with 2. But how much you have taken? 3, let's say. So how do you know 2, if 2 reacts with 2, so out of 3, 2 has reacted, 1 is left. How do you know 1 is left? You're subtracting 2 from 3. So that's why you need to take minus sign first of all. Why we are subtracting? Because they are different solute. They will react with each other. So after reaction, what is left? That we can find only by subtracting what is reacted. Okay. Now other thing is, how do we get this formula? So normality is number of equivalents by volume, right? So here I am taking total volume, that is V1 plus V2. Here I am taking number of equivalents. What is number of equivalents here? Acid number of equivalent, let's say, is N1V1. Base is N2V2, right? So what is left out? Normality into volume, it is number of equivalent, remember. So how much you get here? Let's say 2. You got 10, correct? So 2 equivalent will react with 2 equivalent of this. Then how much base will be left? 8. How do you get 8 is left? What is the equivalent left? 8. How do you get that? 10 minus 2. That is what we are doing here. N1V1 minus N2V2. Whatever is smaller, subtracted from the larger one. Okay? This would be a mod. There should be a mod here. Okay? Correct? Let's say the reverse condition. This is 10. This is 2. So 2 of this will react with 2 of this. So how many equivalent of this will be remaining? 8. How do you get to know 8 is remaining? 10 minus 2. So that by total volume. So that is what we are doing. We are subtracting and finding the equivalents of leftover species. Correct? I hope this is clear now. It does not matter, Veerbhadra. Actually, I should write mod here. But I'm not sure how many of you are aware of mod. So it should be mod. You take whatever. Just remember, you have to subtract smaller species from the larger species. That's the only thing. Smaller from the largest, right? Shreyas, when will number of equivalent remain same? When you're not adding solute, when you're not removing solute. For example, the case of dilution. In this case of dilution, your initially normality was N1, volume was V1. When you multiplied them, your equivalent was N1V1. This is equivalent of solute. Correct? When you add water, you get X ml of water. Correct? X ml of water. So if you get X ml of water you have added, you have not added solute. So normality became N2, volume became V2. Number of equivalent is normality into volume using this formula. So here number of equivalent and here number of equivalent of solute is same. That's why I have said N1V1 equal to N2V2. Why they are same? Because they are equivalent of solute. And you are adding solvent. So solvent will change, solute will remain same. So this also explains your doubt. Sukanya, I explained it for you. Dilution law. Right. Let's go ahead with Kayuri. Have you understood the third one now? Yes, Kayuri. Is the third one clear now? You have to just take the difference, subtract the smaller equivalents from the larger equivalents. Why V1 plus V2? When you add solution 1 to solution 2, 10 ml HCl, 20 ml NaOH, what is your final volume? 30 ml. That's why you have to add V1 plus V2. V total is your final volume. Is it clear, Alicia? Your final volume is V1 plus V2. Shreya, you can't be late to the class. Shreya, you can't be late to the class. You can watch the video, Shreya. If you get any doubts, you can contact me. We are already 20 minutes ahead of the class. So we'll lose another 10 minutes. I have no problems in explaining, but we need to cover the topics also. Right. This is our first question over here. Guys, please join on time before whenever you want. Right. If you don't put mod Ahmed, then also it's fine. Just subtract the smaller equivalents from the larger equivalents. That's all. It will never be negative. Equivalents, moles cannot be negative. How can moles be negative? Right. So this is your first question. You can read it carefully. I'll read it out for you. The volume of H2O that must be added to a mixture of 250 ml 0.6 molar HCl and 750 ml 0.2 molar HCl, so that final molarity becomes this. So there is two HCl solution, HCl1, HCl2. There is a mixture of these two. How much water you should add into this so that your final molarity becomes this, M1, M2, M3. Now it is a question involving two concepts. It is a question involving two concepts. You need to figure out which two concepts are involved here. I will discuss this once you finish. I'll discuss this once you finish. हेलो बोलो. तुम्हें इतनी जल्दी याद आ गया? प्रदीप सर को कॉल करो, वही बताएंगे. मैं क्लास में हूँ भी. Yes. So I see only few replies till now. Despite of the fact that there were a lot of people who were jumping yesterday. Sir, why are you discussing this? Okay. Zoo. Ankita is said, okay. We'll see to it. What's the answer? Yes. All right. So let's end this. Rahul, I'll update today, beta. Rahul Kulkarni, I'll update that today. Yes. So we are ending this on account of 3, 2, 1. Now. We are ending it now. Yes. So now, if you see this, there is a two concept. First thing is you have HCl solution 1, HCl solution 2 is giving you HCl solution 3. Correct? Now, molarity is given. N factor for HCl is 1. So molarity, normality both are same. Normality is N factor into molarity. But HCl gives only one H plus ion. So N factor is 1. So normality, molarity are same. Let me write normality as molarity. So it is 0.6 normal, let's say. And how much ml? 250 ml. And this is solution 2 is 0.2 normal. And how much ml? 0.25 ml. Correct? Now, what is the final molarity has become, or normality has become 0.25. Right? Let us say our final volume is V3. Right? Now, I am assuming how much water I have added? X ml. So now I am mixing them plus I am diluting them also. So it's a concept of mixing plus dilution. So according to concept of dilution, number of equivalents here should be equal to number of equivalents here. So let us find number of equivalents here. It is N1V1 plus N2V2. Total equivalent will be 0.6 into 250 plus 0.2 into 0.25. Right? Okay, I have taken a mistake here. Just let me correct it. This is 750. I know many of you will have pointed it out. This is 750. Right? This is equal to, what is the number of equivalent here? 0.25 into V3. Right? Volume we don't know. So now you can further simplify this. V3 will come out to be, you can simplify this. You will get 150 plus, you'll get 150, 300. So you'll get 300 by 0.25. correct? 300 by 0.25. So this also, one thing is, we need to convert it. If you convert it into liter, your answer will come out to be in liter. If you want to directly find in milliliter, right, this is moles, molarity, right? So you need to divide it by 1000. So let's see how much you are getting first. We need to do the calculation part. And V3 also, guys, V3 is nothing but initial volume. What was initial volume? 250 plus 750 plus how much water you have added? XML. This is your V3. From here you can find XML. So let me check what is the value coming out to be. You can do this calculation, you'll get the answer. If you do this calculation, you'll get the answer. Okay? Let me do the calculation part. Yes, correct. Yes. So you are getting, if you simplify this, your V3 will come out to be 1200 ml. Why ml? Because here you are taken volumes in ml. So this volume will also be in ml. Now, I told you what is your V3. V3 is final volume. That is V1 plus V2 plus how much water you have added? XML. So this is 1200. V1 is 250. V2 is 750, from which you can find X. X will come out to be 200 ml. X will come out to be 200 ml. So what volume of water you have added? 200 ml. So your answer is coming out to be C. Yes, Ankita, you are right. 200 ml of water should be added to get this answer. Correct? So I hope this is clear. If you have any doubt in this, please ask. I see, yes, many of you have answered it correctly on the chat as well. Yes. All right. So anybody having any doubt can ask. We'll move to our next question then. Rohan, check your audio device, beta. Okay. So guys, those who are not understood water volume part, right? So how much water should be added? So this is your already existing solution, 1 liter. In this, how much water you should add? So what I did was, using this, I calculated my V3 came out to be 1200 ml or 1.2 liter. So initially, what was your volume? Check. Initially, your volume is 750, 250, 1 liter. That is 1000 ml. So your initial volume is 1000 ml. Now your final volume is 1200 ml. How volume has increased? Because you have added 200 ml water to it. So what is the volume of water added? 1200 minus 250 minus 750, right? Yes, Sukanya, and this I will kind of rewrite it here. So it was 0.6 into 250 plus 0.2 into 750, and this was equal to 0.25 into V3. So I hope this everybody have calculated that V3 is coming out to be 1200 ml. This calculation everybody has done. It is coming out to be 1200 ml, correct? Now V3 is your final volume. Final volume of solution. Now what does this solution contain? It contains HCl 1, HCl 2, plus you have added water to it. How much volume of HCl 1? 250 ml. How much volume of HCl 2? 750 ml. How much volume of water you have added? X, I don't know, I have to find that. So this is your total volume in the final solution. And this you have calculated to be equal to how much? 1200. So using this, you can find 1200 minus 1000. It is 200. I hope it is clear, right? Pritish, I'm doing a ballet dancing here. That's why my camera is shaking. Can you see? That's the reason it is shaking. Right. Now, is this clear, Sukanya and Naren? Sukanya and Naren. Yes? All right. Let's move to our next question. Yes, please read it out. This is a slightly different question. This is a slightly different question. All right. Before this, okay, you can start reading it out. No problem. Start doing it. We'll discuss both of them. See this question. What is the strength in gram per liter? Remember, you have to find strength. Strength means you have to find weight by volume. Weight should be in gram, volume should be in liter. Try to find this. Even if you don't get the answer, there is no problem. We don't need the answer, we need the attempt. That is important. That will decide where you land. (15 ml of N by 10 NaOH. Gokul neutralizes 15 ml of N by 10 NaOH. 15 ml of N by 10. Ray, 1 by 10 normality. Normality is 1 by 10. We'll see that, Ankita. We'll solve it and check it. What is the strength in gram per liter of a solution of H2SO4? 12 ml of which neutralizes 15 ml of N by 10 NaOH. Yes. I did not did anything, Tanmay. I'm doing the next question. Tanmay, I'm doing the next question. Maybe correct, Prakriti. Maybe correct. I need to check. Yes. So we are ending this question on account of 3. So if you have not voted till now, please vote. If you have the answer. If you don't have the answer also, it's fine. Yes. So let's end this on account of 3, 2, 1 now. So yes, guys, this thing is pretty logical. I'm not going to use any other new formula. I told you if you have an acid plus base mixture, acid plus base gives you salt plus water, right? There I told you you'll find N1V1, N2V2, and you'll subtract them, N1V1 minus N2V2. After subtracting, you'll get the normality of remaining or equivalent of remaining solution N3V3. Correct? Remaining, right? But see here, H2SO4 solution requires or neutralizes this much NaOH. Neutralizes means what? If I have taken 1 mole acid, right, I have added 1 mole base to it, complete neutralization has happened. If complete neutralization happens, if complete, this was remaining acid or base. If complete neutralization happens, neither acid will remain nor base will remain. Nothing will remain, right? 1 mole acid, 1 mole base, neutralized. Everything is 0. Nothing is remaining. So that means your remaining solution will be 0. That means N1V1 minus N2V2 equal to 0. This is acid, this is base equivalents. So you can write N1V1 equal to N2V2. So I'm going to use this. This is for acid and this is for base. For complete neutralization, nothing will remain. So normality of remaining solution will be 0. Correct? Now we can use this easily. And we'll use now N1V1 equal to N2V2. N1 is for acid. Acid normality is not given. Volume is given. Let's say normality of acid is N. Volume is 12 ml. Fine. Normality of NaOH is 1 by 10. N by 10 means 1 by 10 into N. N is normality. So normality is 1 by 10. Volume is 15 ml. Pretty easy. 15 into 1 by 10. So this comes out to be 15 by 10 divided by 12. This is your normality. Do I have to calculate normality? Do I have to calculate normality? No. I don't have to calculate normality. I will not do the calculation also. Right? I have to calculate weight by volume. Correct? Now let me write the formula of normality. It is number of equivalents by volume in liter. Okay? Now, number of equivalents formula also we know. Number of equivalent formula, let me show if you forget. Number of equivalent is weight by equivalent weight, and equivalent weight of H2SO4 we have already calculated 49 gram. I'm going to directly use it. So number of equivalent is given weight by equivalent weight. Substitute it here. Weight by equivalent weight, volume in liter. Correct? So we can write weight by equivalent weight into volume in liter. This can be written as 3 by 2 into 12 or nothing but 1 by 8. Right? You'll get 1 by 8. Now, equivalent weight is 49 gram. What do I have to calculate? I have already told you. You have to calculate gram per liter. Weight in gram, volume in liter. So weight by volume will be 1 by 8 into 49. Or you can say 49 by 8. This is how much? 6 point something. Let's say 1. So correct answer is C. All the problems which I'm discussing here are JEE Mains and NEET level problems. Correct? I hope this is clear. Please go through it again. If you have any doubts, please ask. I'm going to move to my next question. How N3V3 becomes 0? Vishal, if you understood the last concept, you should have understood. I told why we were subtracting. 1 mole acid neutralized with 1 mole base. So if you take 2 mole acid, 4 mole base, then 2 mole acid reacts with 2 mole base only. Why? Because 1 reacts with 1, 2 will react with 2. But how much base you have taken? 4. So if 2 base is reacted, how much base was remaining? 2. 4 minus 2. So N1V1 minus N2V2 gives you base or acid remaining. But complete neutralization means what? Neither acid is remaining nor base is remaining. Therefore, if nothing is remaining, then N3 is normality of acid or base remaining. Either acid remaining or base remaining. If nothing is remaining, then we will say normality of remaining solution is 0. Correct? Bhumika, the answer is 6.12. Yes, Gaurish, you can see this. Sanjana, I have explained the last step. Actually, here, what I have done is, using this, I got normality. Normality formula was number of equivalents by volume. I substituted the formula for number of equivalent, weight by equivalent weight. Correct? So this I wrote it as weight by equivalent weight, volume in liter. I have to find weight by volume only. They have asked me gram per liter. Gram means weight, volume in liter. So equivalent weight I have already calculated for H2SO4 there, 49 gram. So this equivalent weight I transferred it here and I calculated the value of W by V. Correct? How did you get 1 by 10? It was given no here. Gauri, N by 10 NaOH. N by 10 I explained also. What is the meaning of N by 10? 1 by 10 into N. N is the unit. For example, if you take 12 ml, ml is a unit, what is volume? 12. So if I write 1 by 10 into n, what is my normality? 1 by 10. Correct? How 49? Wow, wow, wow. Madhan, beta, you were sleeping here? Madhan, were you sleeping here? When I discuss H2SO4 equivalent weight is 49 gram. Yes, Madan. Were you sleeping here, Madan? When I consider this as gram. What is your confusion? Can you please tell me? I can see your text. It did not say it undergoes complete neutralization. Okay. Please read the question carefully. 5.88 is fine. 6.2 is also fine. Same question mein, what is the confusion, Samrudh? I have explained the same question 2 times. Now tell me, what is the confusion? What is your doubt? Say that. Madan, I hope you have seen how we got equivalent weight 49. Yes. Shreyas, to answer your doubt, what is the strength of H2SO4 which neutralizes this much NaOH? What is the meaning of this? Can you tell me? This much NaOH is present. How much strength should I add H2SO4 so that it neutralizes it completely? Isn't it? Isn't it or not? Yes. So Samrudh, please pay attention and listen carefully. If you have Madan, you should come to the class on time. It seems like Samrudh also came late today. See here, we have applied this relation. N1V1 minus N2V2 gives you N3V3, right? Because there is an acid-base mixture. So now I said N1V1. First of all, Samrudh, you are getting confused because you don't understand this relation. You have by-hearted this relation. I have explained there. What does this value represent? It represents your acid or base remaining, right? अरे दानुष क्या कर रहे हो यार तुम लोग? What are you guys doing? What is this? We have calculated, I told equivalent weight also. E is equivalent weight, bhai. Danush. E is equivalent weight. If you keep asking things like this, then I'll stop taking doubts only, because your doubts are very random. Right? Then you'll say, sir, don't clear doubts. So Samrudh, first thing you should understand is this is equivalent of acid, equivalent of base. So if equivalent of acid is 10, equivalent of base is 2, difference of these two gives you 8, which is equivalent of remaining acid. Right? Remaining acid. 2 equivalent of base will neutralize by 2 equivalent of acid. So how much acid will be remaining? 8. So this is the normality of acid remaining. But listen carefully here. It is said how much strength you should take which neutralizes the NaOH completely. How much acid should I add so that this whole NaOH neutralizes? That means neither acid should be remaining nor base should be remaining. That means the normality of acid remaining is 0. N3 is 0. That's why I substituted 0 here. So N1V1 minus N2V2, you equate it to 0, you'll get N1V1 equal to N2V2. Normality of acid is not given. I calculated it using the normality of NaOH was 1 by 10, volume 15, acid volume given. I got normality to be equal to this. Then I use the formula of normality. What is your formula of normality? Number of equivalents by volume. What is your number of equivalents? Weight by equivalent weight. So now from here you will get weight in gram, volume in liter. This is calculated here 1 by 8 multiplied by equivalent weight. You will get weight by volume. That's all. Right? So this is the meaning of this. Yes. So it probably took our 15 minutes, 25 minutes of the class. So you can understand now one problem takes how much time if you don't focus. Even if you don't focus for 1 minute, it will kill at least 15 minutes of someone other's class. So please focus in the class at every point. Now this is the next question, right? This is the next question. Please read it carefully. If you are someone who believes in putting the values in the answer formula, then you can't get the answer. You need to think. So now you have to understand which case it is. It's a case of mixing. It's a case of dilution. Which case it is. And I'll give you hardly 40 seconds for solving this because it's a direct, easy question. It's a direct, easy question. So I'll hardly give you another 30 seconds. It's a direct, easy question. So another 30 seconds. Yes, Pranav, sodium carbonate is a base, but that is not required here. You don't need it. Ankita, you're right. All right, so let's end this on a count of 3. We can't be waiting for the whole day here. It's not that difficult problem also. If you have understood it, you can solve it fast. On a count of 3, 2, 1, let's end this now. I know 50, how many people have voted? 20%. You know why? Because remaining people are still reading the question. It's not that difficult question also. If I was reading this question first time, I will see volume of sodium carbonate is given. I will see solution contain 2.65 gram sodium carbonate. So mass of sodium carbonate is given. First thing I'll do is I'll find normality of sodium carbonate. Normality of sodium carbonate. What is the formula? Number of equivalent by volume. What is number of equivalent? Weight by equivalent weight into volume in liter. What is the weight given? 2.65 gram. What is the equivalent weight? Molecular mass by N factor. Volume 250 ml. Divided by 1000 for liter. Now molecular weight of sodium carbonate also you can calculate easily, right? I know the value, I'm calculating it for you. 23 into 2 plus 12 plus 48. This will come out to be 106 gram. Now coming to N factor. N factor also is easy. Sodium has +1 charge. 2 sodium will have +2 charge. So salt ke liye total positive or total negative charge. Or you can simply say carbonate has -2 charge. So total positive or total negative charge is your N factor. So what is the N factor here? 2. Molecular mass you have calculated 106 gram. Done. So it is 2.65 by 106 by 2 into 1 by 4. Correct? So this is 53. 2.65 into 4 by 53. This is your normality of sodium carbonate, Na2CO3. Normality of sodium carbonate is known, right? Ankita, you're changing your answer now. Now, what I can do here is, if 10 ml of this solution is taken and diluted to 500 ml, right? So I know now this solution is there, solution 1, right? How much is the normality of this? 2 point, they can further simplify this also. I think it will be 16. Yes. Not 16. It will not be exactly divisible. This will be, let's leave it like this only. Don't divide it. So 2.6 into 4 by 56 is your normality. Now this solution is diluted to solution 2, which is 500 ml. And how much volume of this solution you have taken? 10 ml. What is final normality? Let's say N2. Now you are adding water, solute equivalent will remain same. So you can apply N1V1 equal to N2V2. Question is over. So N1V1 equal to N2V2, right? So you have taken 10 ml of the solution. Normality is 2.6 into 4 by 56. It's 53, correct. Sorry, it's 53. I have taken correct here. Here I substituted wrong. So it is 2.6 into 4 by 53 into 10. Normality I have to find. Final volume has become 500 ml. So put 500 here. You'll get N as ml se ml will get cancelled. So no need to convert it into liters. So you'll get 2.6 into 4 by 53 into 10 by 500, right? So you can simplify this further. This is 1. Approximately you can take 2. You'll get 2. You can further simplify this. You'll get your answer to be there is some error in the answer. Just a minute. Check the calculation again. There is some error in the answer. Check the calculation again. 2.65. Okay. 46, 60, 106, 250 ml is also fine. 1 by 4 is fine. 53 is fine. 2.65 it is. That is one mistake. It is 2.65. 2.65 into 4 by 53 into 10 is equals to 9 into 500. Not, it's molarity. Oh, molarity is given kya? What is asked in the question? What is asked in the question? Let's see. Okay, options are in molarity. Yeah, then we have got the answer. So normality is coming out to be 0.04. 0.004. Normality is coming out to be 0.004. Now you can find molarity from this. N factor into molarity. N factor sodium carbonate we have calculated it to be 2. This is 0.004. So you can find molarity will come out to be 0.004 by 2. I think this will be 0.002. So the correct answer, yes, I got it. Answers are given in molarity. I didn't see that. So answer will be D. The correct answer will be D. So Kanya, answer is not C, answer is D. So check the calculations all of you, please check the calculations again. If you have any doubts in this, please ask. I'm giving you a window of 20 seconds. If you have any doubt on this, please ask. I'm going to start the new concept after this. Yes. If any doubts, please ask. I'm going to start the new concept post this. N factor, Vijay, KV Chetan. Yes. Vijay, N factor, beta, you have missed the salt wala part. I told you salt may either you take total positive charge or total negative charge. If you don't understand this, take LCM of positive and negative charge of salt. That also will give you the N factor. Sodium carbonate, what is your charges? If you don't understand that, then it's not possible to get the answer. So sodium carries +1 charge. 2 sodium will carry how much charge? +2. What is the charge on carbonate? -2. CO3 2 minus. So total positive charge is +2. Total negative charge is also -2. So what is your N factor? Either total positive charge or total negative charge. So N factor is 2. Vijay, N factor is 2 because total positive charge is 2. Yes. All right. Dhanush, last part mein what do you want? Dhanush, last part, answer is 0.02. Is it fine? I repeated the last part. 0.04 by 2 is 0.002. I repeated the last part. Right? So last part is over. We can do with molarity also, Gokul. We can do it with molarity also. Just keep the fact in mind that n factor you have to keep on both sides, right? Molarity, so that is one problem. N1V1 equal to N2V2 part. What is the problem in this, man? It's a dilution law, na? Arey Dhanush, dilution law. What do you apply dilution law? This was the normality. 10 ml of this solution you have taken. Normality, you know how much water you should add so that final volume become 500. So if you are adding water, your solute equivalents will remain same. So if this is N1V1, this is N2V2, they should be equal, no? Dilution law. Dilution law. Gokul, there is a problem in that beta. Here you can apply, but future may, if there is solutes are different, then you'll have a problem, right? Because n factors can be different, then you'll get wrong answer. Here you can apply. So Dhanush, then in that case, N1V1 equal to N2V2. That's all. Right, let's move ahead. Yes. This finishes your concentration terms. We are going to start with solubility concept, right? We are going to start with solubility concept. Dhanush, my sincere suggestion to you is you need to improve your focus, right? You ask those things which are already taught. So focus more. Solubility depends upon. Now, what is solubility? First, let's define our solubility. It is the maximum amount of substance that can be dissolved in a specified amount of solvent at a specified temperature. Now you can understand I have revised your mole concept in 2 classes almost, right? Still you have lot of doubts. That means your mole concept is very strong. So maximum amount of substance that can be dissolved in given amount of solvent at a given temperature. If I take 10 ml of water, how much salt I can dissolve in 10 ml water at room temperature? Temperature is important. Temperature should not change. Okay? So solubility in India and solubility in England will be different because temperatures are different. So when you change temperature, solubility will change. So therefore you need to say, I can dissolve 2 gram NaCl in 10 ml water at 25 degrees Celsius. Solubility has to be defined at a given temperature. Now, what are the factors it depends upon? So the first factor here is nature of solute. Second is solvent. Third is temperature. Fourth is pressure. We'll discuss all 4. You must have observed oil floats on the surface of water. Oil floats on the surface of water, right? Why we say oil floats on the surface of water? Why doesn't it mix with water, right? So if we have to say it floats, because concept is density of oil is less than water. That is quite obvious. But the question is why it is not miscible with water? Why it is not mixing with water? There is a separate layer. Separation is there. Why it does not mix? Because, very good Ravikiran, oil is non-polar. So we are going to our first factor, nature of solute and solvent. So like dissolves like concept. That means polar solute will dissolve in polar solvent. Correct? So sugar is polar, right? Water is polar. So sugar will dissolve in water because it is polar. Like dissolves like. Benzene is a non-polar solvent. So your sugar cannot dissolve in benzene because sugar is polar and benzene is non-polar. Actually, sugar maybe we can't generally say, not all sugars are polar. Some sugars are non-polar also, right? Sukanya, polar. Polar means, guys, what do we mean by polar? Polar. Polar means species which have some dipole moment. Which have net dipole moment. You have studied electrostatic recently. You know what is dipole moment? Mu is equals to Q into I. If I take the example of HCl, chlorine is more electronegative, so it will attract the electron clouds towards chlorine. Chlorine will acquire negative charge. Hydrogen will acquire a positive charge. So now there is a negative pole, there is a positive pole. So species whose dipole moment is not 0 are called polar species. Okay? Yes, Siddharth, you're right. So now, similarly, oil is a non-polar species. Therefore, it is not soluble in water because water is polar, right? Water is polar. All of us know this. Oxygen is more electronegative than hydrogen. So delta minus, delta plus. There is a dipole. So water is a polar species. Whereas oil will be soluble in benzene because benzene is non-polar. So like dissolves like. Polar solute dissolves in polar solvent. Non-polar solute dissolves in non-polar solvent. Correct? All right. Now, solubility of a solid in a liquid, how do you define? There are two processes happening here. When you add some solute to a solvent, that solute goes into the solution. That process is called dissolution. When solute dissolves in a solution, that process is called dissolution. At the same time, this solute also comes out of the solution to form precipitate, right? If it does not dissolve into the solution, then that process is called crystallization, right? For example, if you heat NaCl solution, add some sodium chloride in your water, heat it for a long time, then allow it to cool very slowly. You will observe crystals of NaCl. Why? Because that process is called crystallization. By the time slowly cooling, say, it is becoming less soluble, right? When heat was there, it was soluble, but when you cool it, its solubility is decreasing. So it is coming out of the solution. So when the solute goes into the solution, the process is dissolution. When it comes out of the solution, it is crystallization, right? Now, they are always in equilibrium with each other. Dissolution and crystallization process is always in equilibrium with each other. Remember this. Now, three types of solution: saturated, supersaturated, unsaturated. Unsaturated means you can dissolve more amount of solute, right? Saturated means no more solute can be dissolved, right? If you add even 1 drop or 1 gram of solute extra to it, that solute will come out. It will not dissolve. That solution is called saturated solution, which cannot take even extra 1 gram of the solute. Supersaturated becomes unstable and forms crystal, right? This was a saturated solution. This was a saturated solution. Leave it for a long time, right? Long time, saturated solution becomes unstable, and all the solute which is dissolved start coming out in the form of a crystals. They will start giving crystals. Such solution is called supersaturated solution, right? This is the most important part here. Please pay attention. What is the effect of temperature on solubility? All of you, please pay attention here. What is the effect of temperature on solubility? Please pay attention. So guys, what I have done here is I've applied Le-Chatelet principle. So solute plus solvent, when you add solute to solvent, if it is endothermic process, that means if it is an endothermic process, delta H will be positive. That means heat is absorbed. Heat is absorbed. It will absorb heat, correct? So when you add solute to solvent and it absorbs heat, for that, what is the effect of temperature? Let us see. When you add solute to solvent and it absorbs heat to give you solution, let us see how temperature will affect. When I increase the temperature, this is your heat, this is a solution. When you increase the temperature, heat will increase. So reaction will go in which direction? Forward. Le-Chatelet principle. It will go in forward direction. So if you increase the heat, increase the temperature, if you increase temperature, heat will increase and reaction goes in forward direction. You'll get more solution. More solution is obtained means solubility is increasing. So on increasing temperature, solubility increases. So you can remember temperature is directly proportional to solubility, right? Now, if the process is exothermic, how can we write that process? Solute plus solvent gives solution. Exothermic means heat will be released, right? Heat will be released. So heat is released here, correct? So therefore, heat is written on the right side. So now if you increase temperature, heat will increase And if heat increases, product increases. If product increases, reaction goes in backward direction. That means solution will give back your solute and solvent. That means there is no solution now. Solubility will decrease. So temperature increases, solubility decreases. Correct? Yes. Pritesh, I'm not considering the exceptions here, beta. Beta Pritesh, whatever you are saying, I have only told you. Right? Do not tell me something which I have told you. Correct? All right. I know this. Pritesh, don't worry. Right. So I'm not going into polymorphism and this thing that is not relevant for us. Right. So this is solubility of solid in a liquid. When you dissolve solid in a liquid. Now we are going towards gas in a liquid. That is important. Right. Pressure does not have much effect on it. Why pressure does not have much effect on it? Because solid and liquid, right, both are incompressible. So when you apply pressure also, volume will not change. Both of them are incompressible. Correct? Now, when you talk about solubility of gas in a liquid, this is the most important one. There are two processes which happen. Three actually. See carefully. The rate at which the gas gets dissolved in a liquid, there are some gas molecules which also come out of the liquid, right? So you can see here, the molecules going into the liquid are the black ones, and the molecule coming out of the liquid are the red ones, right? So the ones which go inside, they get dissolved and form dissolved gas. And this, there is a dynamic equilibrium. That means rate at which gas goes into the solution is the rate at which gas comes out of the solution. There is always a dynamic equilibrium there, right? Previous slide, pressure wala. Okay. So pressure, there is no effect because even if you apply pressure, right? So you can say gas may you apply pressure, more gas will go inside, it will become more soluble. But pressure may, solid and liquids are not compressible. So how will you apply pressure on solids and liquids? So therefore there is not much effects of pressure on solid and liquid. I hope it is clear, Angel. Yes. So now if you increase the pressure, what will happen? So this was an equilibrium. Rate at which gases was coming into the solution was the rate at which gases was going out of the solution. So if you increase pressure from the piston, see piston was here, now piston has come down. When you apply pressure, more and more gas will go into the solution. More gas will go into the solution. Correct? So see, the black ones are more, red ones are only 4. Black ones are more, red ones are only 4. Now, what will happen? Then what will happen? This, you have increased the pressure and disturbed the equilibrium. But equilibrium has a tendency to retain its equilibrium. So now, again, after some time, equilibrium will be established. After some time, the gases going out and coming in will be again same. So there will be always an equilibrium between the gases going into the solution and gases coming out of the solution, right? Even if you apply the pressure, some time ke liye more gases will go inside, but slowly after the pressure is released, the gases, the rate at which they go in and the rate at which they come out will be same. Or in other words, when you increase the pressure, the rate at which they go inside will increase the rate at which they come outside. So eventually both of them will become equal. Correct? Remember this. Now Henry's law. We still have time. We can finish this law. This is the most important law for your boards. This is the most important law for your boards. Pressure acts as a catalyst. You can say that. Yes. Henry's law is most important for your boards and NEET. JEE mein, it's rarely asked. So let's see. Same thing is happening here, guys. Whatever I told you. When you apply a pressure, more and more gas molecules will come close to this surface of liquid. And eventually more and more gas molecules will get dissolved in the liquid. That is also called effect of pressure on solubility of gas in a liquid. So please see this carefully. The statement is important. The statement says solubility of gas in a liquid is directly proportional to partial pressure of the gas above the surface of the liquid. Correct? Now, if I take the example, let me draw a solution here. If I have a solvent, let's say here I have gases, right? I have N2 gas, I have O2 gas, I have H2 gas. Correct? All three of them want to go into the solution. Who will go into the solution easily? Let's say it's now in a mixture of gases, according to Dalton's law, you apply partial pressure. So partial pressure of nitrogen here is 1 atm. Here partial pressure of O2 is 0.5. Here partial pressure of H2 is 9 atm, let's say. So then which gas can go easily into the liquid? Which has more partial pressure? That is H2. The gas having more value of partial pressure can get dissolved into the liquid easily. That is the law said by Henry, that partial pressure of the gas A is directly proportional to solubility of a gas A. More is the pressure of the gas, more it will go into the solution, more it will become soluble. So solubility is represented in the form of mole fraction. Please pay attention. This can be represented in mole fraction, molality, molarity also. Okay? Now pressure, if you remove the proportionality sign, you get a constant called Henry constant, that is Kh. So Henry constant is your Kh, right? P is partial pressure of the gas, X is mole fraction. Why we are taking mole fraction? Because there will be more than one gas. Okay? Now, some applications of it, this is very, very important. Some applications of it, please see this carefully. If you increase the value of Kh, right, what will happen to solubility? Kh is inversely proportional to solubility, that is mole fraction of gas dissolved. Let me write it over here. Partial pressure of gas is equals to Kh into solubility of gas. So more is the value of Kh, less will be the solubility of gas. Correct? The example here, Kiran, was if you take three gases having different partial pressure, that gas will be more soluble or will go into the solution more, which has more partial pressure. Why? Because if it has more partial pressure means it is doing more collisions, KTG. It is doing more collisions means probability of this gas molecule hitting the surface and going into the surface is more. Correct? Therefore, hydrogen gas was having more partial pressure, so it will dissolve more. Correct? Prashant, Kh is constant for a gas. For a gas, Kh is constant. Okay? So if you change pressure and all, right, for a given gas, Kh is constant. So we are comparing the gases. If you take nitrogen and O2, you want to see which is more soluble in water. You'll see their Kh first. Okay? So if the pressure is same, then gas having more value of Kh will be less soluble. Okay? Basavaraj, Kh is different for different gases. For some gases, it is 0.1, 0.2. That depends upon gas, Basavaraj. Now, see this. If Kh increases, solubility decreases. Right? Now, I'll come back to my equation. If you remember, in chemical equilibrium, we have studied ln K2 by K1, delta H by R, 1 by T1 minus 1 by T2. Right? Also, dissolution of gas in liquid is exothermic process. Exothermic process. Right? And we have just studied exothermic ke liye, except noble gas. Temperature is inversely proportional to solubility. Correct? So, if you increase the temperature, solubility will decrease. And if solubility decrease, Kh should increase. Okay? So, temperature is directly proportional to Kh, but inversely proportional to solubility. That is very logical also. If there is some gas dissolved in a liquid, if you heat the liquid, gas molecules will gain some energy. and they will leave the liquid. That's why when you increase the temperature of the gas, solubility of gas in liquid will decrease, right? At low temperature, solubility of gas increases, right? That is the reason when you go deep into the oceans, dissolved oxygen is more. At the surface level, the dissolved oxygen is less. Why? Because when you go down, the temperature decreases, right? Temperature decreases, solubility of O2 in water increases. Therefore, these fisheries and all, they stay low in the ocean because at the bottom of the ocean, oxygen is more. Okay? Yes, this is the reason, Vijay, where Coke comes in. Probably we'll discuss its application tomorrow. We are almost done with the Henry's law. We'll do its numerical and applications tomorrow. That's all for today. I know you have a class lined up after this. Thank you for attending this. And please revise tomorrow before coming to the next class. Right? That's all. Today it will be done, Abhishek. Abhishek, it will be done today. Yes, Siddharth, I'm going to that only. I'm just checking where it is. Yes. This is your quiz of the day. There will be no options. You need to just guess it. You need to just guess it. What does it represent? Now you can't Google it also because there is nothing you can Google it. Is water at the bottom of frozen surface former? That is a different concept. That is not this concept. Whoever asked Pratiksha, shayad. I think Pratiksha has asked this. Pratiksha, that's a different concept only. Sakshi, this is a different chapter only, beta. Sakshi, this is a new chapter only. Sakshi, those who have doubts, they can stay back. This is a different chapter only. For people looking at balloons. Jagdish, this is quiz only, beta. You have to identify what it is. I'll not give options also. Okay, Sakshi, don't worry. Watch today's class videos. You'll understand the chapter. Today is our second class only. That too, yesterday I have revised mole concept. So it's not a problem, Sakshi. Don't worry. So yes, I see lot of thing, but kite competition nahi hai. Yes. So now I'll tell you what it is. You can go and read about it. It's a very good innovative project. You can go home and read about it. It is called Project Loon. Project Loon. Okay. What it is, basically, it is for those areas, villages. It's a initiative of Google. It's an initiative of Google, probably for India, most likely for India. So their aim is to reach out to those villages where internet connectivity is very poor. So what they are trying to do is they are going to raise balloons in air, right? These balloons will be interconnected to each other, right? And these balloons will separately act like a wireless system, right? Like a Wi-Fi type. They will act like a wireless system, and this will be used for those areas where the internet connectivity is poor, especially in villages and all. So it's a very good project. When you get time, please go and read about it. It's a very good initiative by the Google. Probably it is for India only, right? So most likely. Yes, now those who have doubts, they can ask their doubts slowly. others can leave. Thank you guys for joining in. Have a good day ahead. Adesh was close to answer. Vijay, that I also don't know. The height here is 32 kilometer. It is in somewhere in stratosphere. Right? And it can generate a speed of 3G only. You can get a 3G speed. Yes. Thank you, Ankita. Yes. If somebody had doubt, they can stay back. Sometimes equivalent weight is considered as molecular weight by valency. Why, sir? Chetana, valency is also n factor. For metals, equivalent weight is always molecular weight by n factor. For metals, n factor is valency. Sodium 1, magnesium 2. Right? So for metals, n factor is valency. That equation, I'm not getting how that equation came. Are Ganesh, I have not written. Ganesh, I can't tell you now, to be honest. That equation, probably tomorrow's class, I think I can discuss that, Ganesh. Tomorrow's class, में vapor pressure, I'll discuss that, most likely. Most likely, vapor pressure mate will come. वैसे it comes in chemical equilibrium also, but still. All right. Sulfur n factor is 2. Oxygen valency is 2. Sulfur also 2. But that depends upon its compound. But yeah, you can take 2 valency. Yes, Kayuri, I'm going to that. Chetna, I've answered that. It should be 2, Chetna. In solubility of solid and liquid, you said crystallization and dissolution will be in equilibrium, but crystallization requires cooling. Ravi Kiran, you have forgot your equilibrium concepts, beta. Ravi Kiran, tell me one thing. Ravi Kiran, when you talk about, what do I say? Just a minute, let me reach there first. Yeah. So Ravi Kiran, when you talk about this thing, right, equilibrium, then have you heard about reversible processes? You say at every point of time they are in this thing, equilibrium, correct? So when we are saying this, we are talking about, you are talking about crystallization. I agree crystallization will happen at a particular temperature, but crystallization will be, you can say crystallization will be affected at a particular temperature. Okay? So if crystals are not coming out, that does not mean crystallization is not happening. Crystallization is happening. Example is precipitation. Remember the concept of solubility and precipitation, KSP. Forward direction favors solubility for a salt. Backward direction favors precipitation. Right? So can you say if precipitation is not happening, that means KIP is not greater than KSP. If it is not the case, then can you say that precipitation is not happening? No. Solubility and precipitation both are happening together. No one is dominating over other. That is the meaning of it, right? So before KSP is equals to KIP also, rate of forward direction is also there, backward direction is also there, but they are not equal. After equilibrium also, backward direction is there, forward direction is there. They are not equal. But at equilibrium, both rates are equal. That is what I was trying to say at that point. Okay? So yes, at a particular temperature, their rates will become equal. At a particular temperature, rate of dissolution and crystallization will be same. So Kayuri, are you there? Yes, Kayuri, are you there? Are you there, Kayuri? No. All right, so let's end this.